Deputy Speaker, this morning in this Parliament we had a momentous celebration of International Women's Day, a breakfast, inspiring speeches from the Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, a wonderfully detailed speech from the Leader of the Opposition, Bill Shorten, Senator Janet Rice focusing on the need for international development as well as paying attention at home. And as I was there in my colleagues in this House celebrating International Women's Day, my mind turned to the idea of, we had been talking about equality at work, and my mind turned to this idea of equality in democracy. And it was inspired by an event that took place in my holidays. And colleagues, if you will bear with me for a short story, I went to Papua New Guinea for my holidays, and I'd also like to say it was self-funded. I've had a very long-term relationship with Papua New Guinea, and I was up there celebrating 10 years of friendship between the organisation that I used to be president of, Australian Women in Agriculture, and Papua New Guinea Women in Agriculture. So that in itself was just a wonderful thing to be able to acknowledge 10 years of solid friendship. And during that time, the organisation Australian Women in Ag and PNG Women in Ag, we've worked together, we've run workshops, we've done planning, we've done strategic planning, we've done networking, we've spent hours and hours in each other's company, we've had exchanges between Australia and PNG, we've talked about how the world could be better and how our two countries can be better. So it was fantastic to be up there in Papua New Guinea. And I'd like to just take an opportunity to acknowledge and thank the Australian High Commissioner in Papua New Guinea, Bruce Davis, and his team for their wonderful hospitality, to Bronte, Ben and Rod and everybody else in the High Commission for the work that you do. So thank you for that. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the staff of the Papua New Guinea National Agricultural Research Organisation, NARI, because they're the ones that host PNG Women in Ag. To Sergi Bang and your staff, thank you. To Dr Nora Omut and Barbara Tolmie in particular, thank you very much. To Maria and Mr Linneby. Maria Linneby is the president of Papua New Guinea Women in Agriculture, PNG Women in Ag, and she's this most outstanding woman of great integrity who's taken this organisation from a vision in someone's eye that she'd been to Queensland and she thought we could do this. So now it's operating in PNG and going from strength to strength. So thank you to those people for their hospitality. But the key topic we talked about when we were in PG was the election that's going to happen a bit later on in this year. And I had the opportunity to meet with 20 women who'd just completed a leadership course being sponsored by DFAT and run by the ANU. And it's looking at how those women can position themselves to run in the PNG election. So I wish them well. What a task. We're told that in PNG there's a 61% turnover in politicians between electorates, and there's all of 2.7% of the politicians in that parliament are women. So there's huge issues. One of the participants at that workshop was a woman called Rafina Peters. Rafina has been in Australia, sponsored by the ACI, Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research, and the Australian Rural Leadership Program. So she's done our leadership program and she's now running in PNG. And some of the issues facing in PNG as they get underway with this election, just for example, are the roles. There's over 800 different languages in PNG, and our Australian Electoral Commission is working with PNG government to help get a roll going. But I have to say, I'm told that an evaluation in 2013 showed that the 2007 election, there was 500,000 excess voters on those rolls. So it's a real challenge, not only to make sure that women's names are there, with no birth certificates, but actually the roles reflect the reality of the people who live in that country. And there's a huge birth spurt happening in Papua New Guinea. There's children all over the place, so it's going on. But this idea of equality and democracy, I just want to place it out there because yesterday I went to DFAT's Innovation Exchange and I got a sense of some of the really creative work that's happening there. And I'd like to put a question to the DFAT innovation people. What would it take to have innovation in equality in democracy, and to set ourselves a 20-year plan so that in 20 years we had representation in PNG and the South Pacific and other countries that actually represented the mix of the people there. So that's what I wanted to put on the table today, is we love PNG, we've got so much to be grateful for, but I think a real gift we could give to them is equality in democracy and making sure that women are well represented in that country. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
I thank the member.